Your someday starts today. It's time to explore and test the newest science, methods, and trends for creating a life you love with your host, Tanya MFK. Welcome to My Designed Life.
Welcome to My Design Life, where we bring you realistic ways to create your best life now and then test them to see what really works. I'm your host, Tanya MFK, and I am so glad that you're here. We are here every other week, so make sure to click that follow and subscribe button to be notified when a new show is up. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the My Design Life podcast, and TanyaMFK.com. So last episode, we met with Allison Brash, founder of Follow Your Spark, and learned how to create our best days through strong evening routines and ditching the snooze button. Her story was really, really incredible. She went from really serious sugar addiction, which, man, I'm telling you, you can't take this lightly. Like, it sounds like, oh yeah, we're all sugar addicts, but I'm telling you, her story is so powerful. And she went from that addiction and shame to taking one simple step to upgrade all the areas of her life. And she now teaches others how to do the same, just one simple step. So after our show, I was challenged to get back on my evening routines and in turn, my morning routines. I had just come back from LA with a wicked case of jet lag. I was up at 3:30 a.m. every day and then ready for bed by 7. So at first we were trying to fight it. Then we decided to just lean into it. And it was kind of awesome. I accomplished so much in my day by 10 a.m. It was an amazing feeling. But then we got back home and it kind of stuck. And so I took on this challenge with gusto. I kept going and got up at 3:30 a.m. I was having amazing accomplished mornings and creating that sacred evening routine space. And I was in bed by 8 p.m. I couldn't even stay up late longer if I wanted to. So it was really, really great to have that push to get back into creating that foundation to have a wonderful day, tending to myself first thing in the morning, meditating, reading, journaling, and then having quiet time before bed and really being ready for that next day, like taking those steps and that time to really make that happen. And then on top of that, getting restful sleep. Oh my God, I'm pretty sure I haven't had that in about 4 years. So if you missed the episode, please go back and check it out on our YouTube channel or Facebook page and learn how to find your spark to do anything. So now for today, we do have a special show in store with someone that is so incredibly kind, humble, and accomplished, and she's probably affected your life in one way or another without you even knowing it. Here's our conversation.
Welcome to My Designed Life.
My next guest is one of the most famous people you've never heard of. Opening doors for those that weren't given a chance, she paved the way for some of our most beloved artists to get heard. At 12 years old, her love of music and record collecting landed her a job selling 8-track tapes at the Rhodium Swap Meet, the place now recognized as where NWA met and started. By 15, she owned her own record store and mastered her ear for music and talent, which eventually morphed into a career as a director of urban music for two of America's largest entertainment retailers. She was known for her high-profile events and promotions that led to breaking new acts and obtaining gold and platinum status for thousands of artists. Thousands. For over 4 decades, she's rubbed elbows with such greats as Clive Davis, Quincy Jones, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, as well as rap and hip-hop's who's who, such as Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Exhibit, and more. From executive production on top-selling gold and platinum releases to documentaries, artist management, concerts, and festivals, to consultant positions at Hollywood, Priority, and Interscope Records, she was instrumental in the careers of NWA, MC Hammer, the Black Eyed Peas, Tech Nine, and so many more. She was also the VP of label development at the #1 indie rap label Strange Music, home to Tech Nine, Chris, Kaliko, Mayday, Stevie Stone, and more. She's been presented with Source Magazine's prestigious Source Power 30 Award 5 times, in addition to the Living Legend Award, alongside with some of the biggest names in music like Berry Gordy and Quincy Jones. From being mentioned on Eminem's album and giving input for the movie Straight Outta Compton, she is the godmother of hip hop. Clearly marching to the tune of her own beat, she switched gears following her passion for health and life changes to manage a 16,000 square foot No Limits gym in Signal Hill, California, known for their Spartan race training. Never one to stay put, she's making a return to music in 2020 to once again use her talents to connect new artists in country, urban, and pop genres with a newly emerging label. Here to talk to us about belonging in any damn place you want to be, please welcome the amazing, talented, kind, and gracious woman that I get to call friend, Miss Violet Brown. Violet, it's so great to have you here.
So great to be here.
Yes.
I'm excited. That was a beautiful introduction. I was like, wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Like, who is that lady?
Who is that lady? Man, I should be tired. I should not be starting over, doing more.
Oh, and that is what is so amazing about you. Just your spirit, everything that you do wholeheartedly. I'm just, again, I really meant that. So honored to be able to call you friend. And again, thank you for being here.
And I'm honored and blown away by you. So.
Thank you. Thank you. So you've obviously had an amazing career where most people would say, you know, hang up the hat, call it a day. But I also would venture to say that it wasn't always easy being in this industry, in this position. Expectations of who you should be or what you should be, or even being associated in those days of gangster rap and NWA and these things that were happening. What were some of the difficulties? We went through the highlight reel, but what were some of the kind of difficult parts that you had to get through, perhaps going through these years of
I think
work?
just basically getting to know people and getting to sit down with people so they could see who I am and what kind of music I was into. Because first you look at the white face, it didn't really match the music, you know. So a lot of times people were kind of shocked. A lot of people, when they would come to meet me, they didn't even know that they were coming to meet this Caucasian lady, you know.
Right.
They thought Violet Brown, she's black, you
Right.
know, African American now, right?
Right.
We would say now. So, you know, I would come to greet them at my office or at my company, wherever I was at, and they would think that I was the lady, the secretary that was leading them back to meet this lady.
You're getting the coffee.
Yeah. And so when they found out who I was, it would usually take a few minutes of us just talking about the music and such for them to go, oh, wow, she probably knows more than I do, or wow, she's very experienced and she knows what she's talking about. So that I would go through that a bit with people. But as I started to rise my popularity kind of and status in the music industry, more people knew who I was up front. And you know, they would come in, meet with me, we would chat again and in meetings and such, and it would be all good. I mean,
Right.
so I had those types of things going on in the very beginning.
And I would say it makes sense because especially in this industry where, you know, we're you know, people are gun shy also. You're like, who's this lady? She's coming in. She's probably some slick, you know, executive. She doesn't know anything about my music or where I'm coming from. She's just trying to get, you know, my money and get my talent, sign a deal, you know, where you have a true heart and love for hip hop.
Oh yeah, true love for music from the beginning. But
Yeah.
you know, I was already working in music before hip hop, and once I heard hip hop, I just went absolutely nuts for it. So I was just talking to somebody about that this morning. You know, where I started, hip hop was in the East Coast, and so I was working for a chain on the West Coast, but I loved the music. So my first work with hip hop came from East Coast artists, and then once the West Coast started popping, I already kind of had a name in it, so all the West Coast artists would step to me, want to meet me, that sort of thing, you know.
I love it.
But yeah.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about that, because we mentioned briefly kind of in your bio that you were collecting music early on. You loved gathering records, and that kind of brought you to the swap meet and brought you to your own record store at age 15, which is just amazing. But talk to me about just kind of that first love for music. When was it clear? How did it start?
Well, I was brought up in music. My mom played stand-up bass, and she mainly played for country music and country bands. And so I started playing acoustic guitar. And so her and I would go and play music. And sometimes I would be the little kid in a bar playing music with my mom. And we were playing mostly mostly country songs back then. I always say we were the Judds before the Judds, you know, we were the mother-daughter. So I did that. And I think that I started to kind of rebel against that music. It was just so much of that music,
Mm.
country and that sort of thing. So I started listening to other things. And my parents' best friends were a family that lived over in Compton. They were Black. And in the summer times, I would spend all my summer with them. So, of course, that brought me into hearing all kinds of great, great music from that family. And I would start spending every penny that I could collect through allowance or whatever to buy records. So I started buying a lot of that kind of music. And there was, Al Green and artists like Shorty Long and James Brown and the Supremes, the Temptations, Marvin Gaye, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that led me to my love of urban music. And
Mhm.
then once I heard hip hop, of course, that just grabbed my ear. I think that Planet Rock made me lose my mind. So from then on, it was all about hip hop, hip hop.
Yeah,
So although I did still listen to other types of music,
of
I
course.
had a lot of success in hip hop. I loved it. I started DJing in clubs, and I DJed through all genres of music. So I would go do a rave and play completely electronica type dance music, or maybe a gay disco back in the late 70s, and it would be all of the disco music and music
Wow.
like that, to new wave. And I would be playing, Patti Smith and Devo and, the Clash and things like that. So I
But
played all types of music.
yeah, and what that tells me really is that in all those eras, you were on the top of what was new and happening at that time, because
Oh
the
yeah.
Patti Smith and the new wave, I mean, that was its own thing. And if you look at the hip hop history, there's that story about him hearing Patti Smith and the new wave club, and that being kind of the first inspiration with Run DMC,
Oh
hearing that kind of
yeah.
music, right? So I mean, that having that ear and appreciation was really the first step, right? It wasn't, you at no point did you really step out, or I guess it's more of a question, did you step out and go, I want to work in music, or were you just following what you liked?
Well, I decided that I wanted to work in music when I started working at the Rhodium Swap Meet for these
Mm.
people. When I was 12 years old, I was helping them set up their booth, and I was helping them sell these 4 and 8-track tapes, which is probably completely foreign to people, but it was before cassette. There was 4 and 8-track tapes, and we were selling those. So, and back in the day, the copyright laws were different. So they could copy a Led Zeppelin record or the Beatles or whatever and just sell these at the swap
Hmm.
meets. And that's what they were doing. And I was 12 years old, and I was told that's all legit. So I was like, here's your 4 and 8-track tapes. So
Right.
I started telling them kind of what to put on their compilations, because I knew a lot about the hits and things that were going on in music.
Mm.
So they started building these compilations that became super popular, because they were selling wholesale to swap meet people across the country.
Yeah,
And the ones that
right.
I was telling them that I put together for them, I was A&Ring these things when I was 12 years old.
12, yeah.
They were selling like hotcakes for them. So that really got me excited. And they even started putting my name on them, I think just to juice me so that they wouldn't have to pay me more money. They go,
Right.
oh, let's make her famous. And then we won't have to pay her anymore. So they started putting my name on these, and they were selling really well. And so that just sparked my whole thing in music. Then when I was 15, they allowed me to take over their store and just sell them the music and pay them on consignment at the end of the week. So I was still in high school, going to school, and then coming back after school, opening my store. And because I had a lot of friends at school, because I was very involved with school dances, bringing my records to school
Sure.
and
Right.
playing in bands and stuff like that, I knew everybody, and I was in drama. So I knew everybody. So they all started shopping at my store. It became very popular.
Mm.
So at age 18, I was told we have to stop selling those kind of tapes. It was around 72. And so I went to work for another music chain, where I went in and I talked to the owner, and he says, I don't hire kids here. And I was like, well, I just had my own music store and I know a lot about the music. He goes, oh, I don't care. We don't hire kids. And I was like,
Wow.
okay. So I had to play like music trivia with the manager to get him to believe me. So that was the first hump, I guess, that I had to
Right.
jump over to prove myself. And then after I proved myself, I went in, and I was only there about a year till the corporate office uh, wanted to bring me in to buy 45s for them. And then their distributor actually brought me in. So that was where I started just moving up the
Really
ranks
into
in
like a
music.
full-fledged career into
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
So, but it was really that love, that you're paying attention, the fact that you were still pursuing and looking at music for the sake of music, that gave you that insight and that desire and that knowledge to be
Oh,
able to get to that point.
music fueled everything, you know.
Yeah.
I just loved especially being able to help a new artist kind of achieve their dreams. You know, it was cool. I loved watching an artist come in, meet with me, we talk about their release, I put it in a few stores, it starts to move, then we move it farther out into other stores, kind of like, and we spread it like wildfire. And then watching that particular artist maybe sell out a stadium, or to have their first time on Soul Train or
Yeah.
on TV, or you know, their music videos popping, people rolling down the street with the radio bumping, and you just hear that song, you know, that people
Yeah.
are actually listening to that guy that first came in and nobody knew who he was. And
Right.
then receiving, then one day getting in the mail, oh, here's a gold or platinum plaque because you've helped me with this release. So yeah, it's just been all about the music first
Yeah.
and foremost.
Well,
Mhm.
and you have been in that position, and I don't know that people fully understand the power, really, in a lot of ways, that you had as that gatekeeper to give them that chance to even be in the store. They think, well, they've made an album, so now they made it, but the access to purchasing it, like, we didn't have digital downloads back then, guys. Like,
No.
a lot of times we discovered music, and I speak for myself as well, like literally by looking at the CD cover, seeing what the person might tell us at the store, and hopefully when they had listening stations, oh my, that was like a big step. I could hear it a little bit before I purchased it, but we had to really trust kind of what was curated in these stores, and have the access to purchase it. And you were a big part of what was going to be in in those stores,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I always felt that there was a place for every artist. Anybody that took the time to put a record out or to do the recording, I always knew, well, this guy's from Fresno, California. Okay, he's got family and friends and schoolmates and all this kind of stuff that he grew up with in Fresno. Let's put it in Fresno and see what happens. And then, you know, let me see if he can take it anywhere else. And then they start with their promotion and all that. And pretty soon, maybe it's big in Northern California too, then Southern California. So I would always start somewhere with a release
Yeah.
if it was a small time guy, and we would take it from there. You know, of course, the big giant labels, they already had the muscle to release things that I would put in all stores, and then
Of
we would just
course.
spread it. But of course, you know, there was a science to it, because if the artist was from a certain part of the country, like Tech Nine in the Midwest, you know, you got a loaded up giant there. They may not know a lot about him on the West Coast just yet, but when
Mhm.
they did, we were ready to pull the trigger and put more records there too. So
Right.
it was like working with a big puzzle a lot of the times. Yeah.
Well, and so there were a lot of people that, like you said, you found a place for everyone. There was, you were really open to giving everyone that chance. Is there any particular story that stands out to you of somebody that maybe you wasn't really sure about, or maybe someone that you just, or maybe the opposite, you were like, this person absolutely needs a chance, and just one story that you remember?
Well, there's a lot of stories like that in the music industry, but I think the biggest that most people can kind of relate to is a guy that uh, took the music industry by storm and came out like gigantic, and that was MC Hammer back in the day.
Mm.
He first started coming to down to see me from Oakland, California, California, driving in his car, having records in the back, and he was selling records directly to me, which I often didn't do that because I dealt with distributors. I would often hook the person up with a distributor, but with him, we started, just buying from him because I really believed in him. When he came in to me, he was very animated. He was very sure of himself. He goes, I'm going to be the biggest rapper of all time. And I was like, okay, dude, you know how many people have been through this door that are the biggest rappers?
Right.
Oh, okay, let's see. So I put his record in the Bay Area around Oakland and over in there. And it started selling. He was huge on promotion of himself, and he was already pretty well known in that area because he worked with the Oakland A's a little bit as a kid.
Okay.
So we started doing in-stores with him, and the in-stores would be in-stores signing autographs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be maybe 50 people show up. Then we would do another one, and it would be a couple hundred people. Then 500 people. It would be people wrapped around the block. And he was always so excited that he would always say, Violet, I'm flying you in for my in-store. You're going to be here with us. And I was like, okay. And so I went, I saw the action in these in-stores. Next thing you know, we were reporting this record. Records are reported to SoundScan for sales. So I was reporting his record, and it raised from our top 100 to our top 50 to our top 20, and then boom, it's at the top of our charts for an artist that was pretty much unheard of because he didn't have a major record deal.
Right.
So labels started calling me and asking me, did I have anything new? One person in particular had gone over to Capitol Records, and she called me up and she goes, I want to sign the next Madonna, Bobby Brown, those type of acts. Do you got anything? Because I know you always have access. So I said, well, I have this guy from the Bay Area. His name's MC Hammer. And I said, he's really starting to make noise on our charts for my chain, Warehouse. As you can see, the market share is 100% basically because we're the only chain that's really selling him. Right. So she goes, oh, okay. Yeah, let me hear that. So I called him up and I asked him if he wanted me to send it to her. He said, sure, we're ready. Let's roll. So I sent it to her. She said, she called me back. She goes, Violet, I do not like this. I am not into it. And I said, okay. I go, well, we don't have to be into what we're promoting or selling. It's always good if we are, but there's thousands of records that I would not care for. But guess what? There's fans. They have fans. And this guy was making noise big time. Yeah. So I said, I think that you should at least turn it into your company. So she goes, oh, I'll give it to the urban department because she was more of the pop. I said, cool. So she gave it to them. They loved it. He went in, he got a deal. His first deal was $2 million. He was animated and bold with them, telling them that he was going to be the biggest rapper of all time, just like he told me. They said, fine. They go, if that happens, we'll get you a brand new Testarossa car. He says, okay. So not long after that, he was calling me up. He's like, Violet, come down to Capitol Records. Today, they're going to give me that Testarossa car because now I'm at diamond status and I've sold 10 million records, because You Can't Touch This was everywhere.
Right.
He was selling out. He would call me and say, I just sold out the biggest stadium in the world in Japan. He would say, oh, I'm meeting with Michael Jackson today. Oh, you want to come? I'm playing for Muhammad Ali's birthday party. Want to roll? So I went to Muhammad Ali's birthday party with him. I mean, all these crazy things, and he was just a guy that drove in to meet me at my office, so.
Yeah, he was persistent and you listened.
He was persistent. And there was so many artists like that. They all start somewhere and there's always a story. Everybody has a story. So that's just one that was crazy because this guy went from the bottom to the top so fast.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of missed nowadays, and especially with the new generation, is a lot of times the stories we hear sound, and in some cases maybe are very close to overnight sensations. You know, like, yeah, well, I'm just gonna do this. I'll open a YouTube channel, and I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I'm gonna be an Instagram influencer.
Right.
And this grit and hustle. I have a love-hate with that word, but I feel like in those days there really was a true hustle of like, I don't have connections to the record labels. I don't have this path. I don't know someone who knows someone. So I'm going to go and talk to whoever I can. And I'm going to tell them what I can do. And I'm going to show up and I'm going to sell the records myself, you know, and
Right.
do those things that of what it takes. And, you know, I have a nowhere near similar, you know, similar to what you've done, but my own history in hip hop. And I remember, you know, just going to the stores and saying, can we put this in here, you know, and we, you know, can we have a couple there, and getting it in Fat Beats was like, wow, they're gonna put it in Fat
Yeah.
Beats. That was so huge, you know.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't make any money off of it, just knowing someone would walk by that rack and be like, what is that? So having that experience and that push really to get through to something, to try for something that and seeing that they believe in it so much, you know, I'm sure affected you as well to go, all right, let's try it, let's give you a chance, right?
Right, right. Nowadays, an A&R person, which is the person that would go out and find the artist, that would maybe go to a club to hear an artist perform first,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing, follow them for a long time to see what they're about and all that. Nowadays, that person could sit behind a computer and just click and go,
Mm,
oh, well, what's their followers? What's
right.
how many videos do they have on YouTube, that sort of thing, and not really even go out to clubs anymore to hear new acts or to look for new
Mm-hmm.
acts. It's all about what's going on the internet now, you
Yeah.
know.
And
So
also what's marketable, because I think you can look at this
yeah,
and go, well, they already have 1 million views and they have this music subpar, but you know, they have a following, let's market them. Where, you know, there was that true connection of like, this feels good. I like this guy. This, you get the vibe in the room and everything,
yeah.
to find that
Nowadays,
music.
Nowadays, there could be an artist that's fantastic. The music is absolutely fantastic. And maybe an A&R person heard it and thought it was fantastic. And then they go on, but nobody knows about you. You
Yeah.
know, you don't have that base on social media. So that
Mm-hmm.
person would get overlooked for somebody that might have 1 million followers, that the music is nowhere near as good as this guy, but that's what's
It
happening
becomes a
these
business
days.
decision, right?
Yeah,
It becomes a
yeah.
business decision.
So unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, so as you've gone through this, I mean, you come through music, you come through, you know, working with these artists, you go into working with, you know, NWA and Dr. Dre, some of the biggest greats in hip hop that we know. Um, you come through this career, you touch them, you're instrumental in doing this. Where does that stop? How do you go from there to the gym?
Well, I came into this gym about 7 or 8 years ago now, and I was a member here with one of the trainers, Jenny Worth, who is a fitness pro. And so I was helping her on the side manage her business while I was involved with music. And the owner of this gym, No Limit Sports and Fitness Academy in Signal Hill, California, met me, and she knew that I had a background in business. So she said, you know what? I'm about to have twins with my partner, and we're going to be out of the gym a lot. I need somebody to really manage it when I'm not here. Can you maybe do this for 6 months until my babies are born? I was like, sure. And here we go 7 years later, and I'm still here managing the gym. I really got into loving fitness, loving the people here. We have a great community here at the gym. We train Spartans for races. We train people that have been couch potatoes, sitting on their couch for 10 years and decided they wanted to lose some weight, so they want to come into the gym. We have everybody here. We have trans clients here. We're very big in the gay community of
Love
this
it.
whole area. Black, white, Hispanic, Cambodian, all types of people come to this gym, you know,
Right.
male, females, everybody.
The spirit, that's
So
the spirit of Long Beach and Signal Hill right there.
yeah, and I really love the people here. So I decided to stay on. So I stayed was with Strange Music, and I was here doing that. And then I was asked to go back to live in Kansas City, Missouri, to work for Strange, and I did not want to do that. So I just kept on at the gym. And so
Wow.
lately, though, I've met up with another label, a brand new label that's going to be starting in 2020. And I'm real excited about them. It's something totally different for me. Well, kind of going a little bit back to my roots because we do have a little bit of, we will have a country influence for sure.
All
And this is going to
right.
be country, like an overnight sensation kind of thing. The artists are amazing.
Wow.
So, but there's a certain twist on those artists too, which you'll see
Hmm.
in 2020. You'll see more of that from me. So, and we're doing other genres too, but I'm just really excited about what we're bringing to the table in the country music genre. So I'll be working with them in 2020, and I'm real excited about that, getting back into music. I still help people out all day long. This morning, somebody hit me up. Will you just listen to my music and tell me, Ma, this guy, he goes, Ma, just tell me if I've got it, if this is something that will hit. He goes, because other people are telling me, but I don't believe them until I hear it from you. So I said, yeah, send me your music. So I get that all the time, uh, through social media every single
Right.
week. Yeah.
Wow.
I have a guy I'm dealing with in Canada too, Johnny Rourke, that's going to be a major force too, and he's in hip hop. So got all
Amazing.
kinds of things.
Well, and the common thread that I'm seeing in all of this, you're in this the depths of the music industry that everyone's coveting to be part of, is you you listened, you heard people out, you said sure, why not? And here you are in this career, and then someone says, hey, can you help me manage a gym? And you're like, sure, why not? And you went and followed this, not only helping someone and giving them an opportunity and a chance and assistance, but also your own kind of journey. Your journey at the time was also kind of following getting into health and fitness, right, at
Oh
that
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah, so you had developed that passion, and you said sure, why not?
yeah. The thing that happened with me with that is I was over 50 years old, and I wasn't a person that went to the doctor a lot or any of that. I never felt bad. I was starting to get a little worried, going, I'm getting up there. I should start paying more attention to health, and I should go to the doctor. And so I went to the doctor. I always had great insurance, so I could have went to the doctor, but I just didn't,
Right, right.
and a lot of people, when they're heavy, they don't go to the doctor that much. So I didn't go to the doctor. And I went to the doctor, and in my mind, I was hearing him say, oh, you have cancer, you have diabetes, you have all these things. So they did complete check of me, and they go, oh, your blood pressure is a little high, but if you lost weight, we can bring that down. And I was like, well, what about the cancer and the diabetes? No, no, you don't have any of that stuff. And I was like, oh my God. So I went from a person who went out to lunches, dinners, sometimes breakfast with record labels, with artists, going out to shows at night, drinking, partying with artists, to getting serious about my health. So I joined Weight Watchers. And I stuck with that program for 4 years, and I
Wow.
lost 141 pounds. And I didn't even start working out till I was down 50 pounds. Once I got there, I started getting into fitness more, and then I kind of took it all the way to the 141. Then I had an issue with my hip. It took me out of my exercise program, my
Hmm.
routine. And I feel like if you're in a routine and you follow it and you're doing everything every single day, it's so easy. But once one thing drops, it's like a house of cards, and other things can drop.
Right, right.
So that happened to me, and I started gaining weight back. And I was like, oh no, I do not want to do this. And I was always told, you can't lose weight when you're a certain age. It just won't happen. Well, it happened before, so I knew it could happen again.
Of
So
course.
I went back to Weight Watchers, and now I'm back on that program, and I'm down 53 pounds, and I'm feeling good. And now I had knee surgery. So after this completely heals, I'll be back to my normal workout regimen. So
I love it.
yeah.
So you did that. You're helping people out. Now you help people out in fitness, and I can pursue that passion. And now you're coming back around again to hearing people out, giving them that chance. And just it just amazes me, I think personally, knowing what you know and hearing what you hear about that industry and how callous it can make you to people asking of you, requesting
Right.
of you. In my industry, just working in coaching and clients and things, you get a lot of like, no, everyone's going to ask you to pick your brain, and you kind of you're supposed to put up this wall to like, no, like limit access. I can't help you because if you help everyone, you're never gonna have time for yourself. But there seems somehow you've managed to always not only always find time, but you seem to do it so graciously.
Well,
Like,
I try. So
And it's just amazing to me. And I guess the other question I'd have is, seeing all this success that's been around you and ups and downs, not just success, I'm sure difficult losses and things through the industry, of course, which I think most people are familiar with. What would you say are maybe some common threads in the people who really made it, the people who really put through, or maybe not even who made it, but you yourself would say this was success, this was the thing?
well, it's always the person that truly believed in themselves, like I said about Hammer.
Mm-hmm.
He believed in himself. He knew where he was going, and every time that I've been around an artist like that, I always think about Hammer, and I was like, man, he really knew where he was going. And then the next guy would come in and they would be a lot like that. With rappers, it's all ego and
There is
anything.
that, yes.
There's that. But there's some that are just so sure of themselves. So it really makes you want to pay more attention to them. But I would say that the people that really believed in themselves were the ones that always were able to make it. And the people that loved what they were doing. They had to have a real love and passion for it. And I would say that with all the successful people, that's what I see. And they're usually people that work hard as well. Like one of the things I would always listen for when a rapper would hit my office is, what else do you do besides rapping? What is your personal life? What do you have a family? You have a job, that sort of thing. And so many of them would go, well, I'm a rapper. I don't have a job. I'm a rapper. Okay, well, you're a rapper, but nobody knows you yet. And you don't have a record on the radio. So how are you paying your bills? And I would just assume there was something going on behind the scenes that they were making their money with or whatever. But a lot of them were laying at home on their mom's couch, sleeping with, from this couch to that couch, not even a place to live. And they felt that they were a successful rapper. Like, why should I have a job?
Right.
Well, the ones that became successful are the ones that had a job. They knew how to work. They knew how to grind. They had other things going on that they had to show up and be responsible for.
Right.
Whether kids, job, school, something, and these ones that didn't have that going on, they usually weren't able to cope in the music industry because it's a lot of hard work to get out there and grind and meet people and do shows and prove yourself.
Right.
And, maybe you have to show up and sign autographs somewhere. Maybe you have to ship your own product out somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe, you have to go and be your own manager because you don't have a manager yet. You have to talk your way into venues, things like that. You have to go meet people like Violet Brown that can help you.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I know that's so interesting because I think there's a thing of believing in yourself and really being connected to it, like you said, as opposed to wanting to be famous. There's a fine line, I think, there. Like, the end result in fame is absolutely great, of course, and most people are in some level wanting to attain that. But if that is the only end result, if it's not, I can be famous, which means I can do more music, I can do this more, and it doesn't even have to be lofty, like I can touch people's hearts. Maybe that's not where it is, but maybe you just love doing this so much you can't imagine doing anything else. Right. That is a different drive than, well, I want to make the money. I want to make the money, because making the money is
is really the result of the passion. You don't just make the
Right.
money. It's,
Right.
you know, so if you're searching out, and I would say this is a nugget I'm taking from this right now, is like, if you're searching out for the job or the career, especially in this day of entrepreneurs and everyone really having access to create their own business, if you're looking for the one that's going to click, the one that's going to make the money, that business is probably going to be short-lived, whether
Yeah.
it's through the failure of the business itself or through your own disinterest. And I've heard stories about people who've made it big on like drop shipping, where they purchase, if you guys don't know drop shipping, you get something from like China, you kind of put your own label on it and they send it out, and they've made money. Actually read a story about a guy who made a ton of money doing it, and he ended up closing it down because he's like, I just didn't care about it. Like I was making this money and people think I'm nuts, and it sounds nuts. Like, what do you mean you're successful? You get to go lay on the beach. And he's like, but I didn't want anything to do with it. Like, it didn't matter to me. And he's like, I know how cheesy this sounds, but I wasn't passionate about it. And there is something very real there that I think when you don't have the money, you don't have that success, it's hard to understand. But when you're there, it's not the answer. I hate like people are like, what do you mean money's not the answer? But it's not.
And when you're passionate about something, you know, like for myself, I wasn't the one making all the money. It was these artists that were making all the money. And I loved watching them make the money and getting them there. But I wasn't making money. But what carried me was the passion for what I was doing. You know, I felt it just warmed my heart to see some guy make it, you know, and knew that I probably helped him do that, you know. It happened with will.i.am too, in the Black Eyed Peas. I used to be very involved with will.i.am, and to watch him come from a little guy, 16 years old, that I found at a open mic at a place called the Hip Hop Shop on Melrose back in the day, to seeing him, you know, play for Obama's inauguration and different things like this. And, you know, like just crazy, you know? So.
Yeah. See, and guys, as you're listening to this right now, I want you to hear like that passion, that authenticity, that her following the thing that just she loved and made her happy. If you heard the intro, you know, 5-time award for this. And that's not, and nowhere did she say, well, that's what I was after. That's what I was going for. I'm going to be the best. She just followed the thing, and it resulted in the things it resulted in.
Yeah. And for me too, I think I was able to keep my name and reputation in the business because I wasn't influenced by money and that sort of thing. Because believe you me, people would step to me and go, oh, let me pay you to get my record in here or whatever. And I never did that because I always wanted to keep my integrity, you know, and I didn't want that reputation, because there were a ton of people in the music industry that kind of that sort of reputation followed them.
Pay to play.
Yeah, and they went from this job to this job, from here to there, you know, and they were doing those same things over and over again. And I just had a different sort of reputation as being just straightforward, honest, brutally honest. I would say, hey, this is really not happening in this record. You need to probably go back and do something different with it to make it really pop. And telling some people, look, you're not a producer. We need to get you a producer. You're producing this and it's not matching up to the skills of your lyrics. So let's put you with somebody else.
There are so many people that need to hear that.
Oh my gosh, so many people. And having people come and handing you a demo and, okay, here's a CD demo. Where's your information? It has no information about you on here. This is very unprofessional. Let's put together a package that we can take to Capitol Records or Interscope or this label or that label, you know?
Yeah. So taking it seriously as well, like you said, doing that extra work, that extra mile, you know, not just getting there and going, here, once I get it, it's all going to work, you know, but, you know, putting your name on the damn thing, guys, like making sure someone can reach out to you.
And they think that once the record's released or once they get that record deal, I'm famous. It's all roses from here on in and rainbows and stuff. No, that's the part where you have to really go to work at that part, you know.
Yeah.
You have to learn the business. I know you may be an artist, you know, and and that sort of thing. But there's a business to this too. And if you don't
Yes.
start learning both sides of it, you're going to be taken advantage by
You're going to be
people and
eaten
stuff.
alive. Eaten
So
alive.
you need to hone your craft, go out, get educated on the
Yeah.
business end of it as well. Or you got to find somebody that you trust that's very honest with you, that can be like a 24/7 type relationship with you, that you believe in, that's going to have your best interest, and let them do it for you. But I would
Absolutely.
say you should always learn it, have that person, but also know what they're doing, know how to do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, and I always tell people, like, you don't just arrive. We think that we hit this level and then it's like, oh, I made it, whatever made it is. Made it could, for some people, could be a certain amount of money they're going to make. It could be purchasing that first house. It could be getting the job started. But it doesn't stop there. Every new level you arrive to requires a new level of you. So like you said, someone may come an artist, they got the record deal. It doesn't stop there. You don't sit by and go, now it's, what do you come with next? How do you understand the industry? How do you promote this? How do you deal with XYZ? And like you said, if you don't learn it and step up to the next level, you won't make it any further than that. You know? And so it makes so much sense. I love that you said, the people who you saw that believed in themselves, which is a big difference between just having arrogance and cockiness versus like, I really believe that I can do this. I know that this is something, and I believe in it. And then going into, I'm going to work hard for it no matter what. I'm going to support myself through it. Because if someone is managing the job and the thing, they know what it's like to make it work. I got to make it work. And so they take that same ethic into whatever else that they're doing. So for those of you guys here, like entrepreneurs, anyone like that going, it's hard right now. It's tough. Like, take this as your training ground, because once you get to that next level, you hit that first, 6-figure, 7-figure number. This is going to be the grit that like God gets you prepared for that next level.
Yeah,
right?
that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah.
So I love that. Well, so Violet, if you've gone through all this, you've seen all these things, you've really pushed yourself in your own way. You've reinvented yourself. You've come in, and I don't know if reinvent is but you've never been afraid to kind of go to the next thing. And so here you are at your new transition and coming in back into music. Will you still be working with the gym as well?
I believe that I still will. I've got a sinus issue, so that's why I keep weaponized. But yes, I want to stay with the gym. I love these people. I love the owners of the gym. I love being around fitness. I love being around positive people, and our gym is just loaded with a whole community of positive people. We call them No Limits Fit Nation, because the owner of the gym wants to impact 1 million or more people, the lives, their activity, their fitness, and their healthy lifestyles. So she's doing it one person at a time. She's also doing motivational speaking out there, and she's really trying to build this gym into something gigantic, and it's working. I mean, we've got tons of people coming in, and everybody that comes here is positive, you know, and it's a melting pot for everybody, and there's no cliques here. Everybody just here for one reason, and that's to get fit, get healthy, and to feel good. And they have a good time doing it in the classes. So I love being around people like that. And she knows that I still do music, and so she allows me to do that as well. So I'm kind of like the mama of the gym, like the god, like they call me the godmother of hip hop. I was mom over there, and I'm mom here too. So yeah.
Well, and I think what you just said right now really embodies everything that you're talking about. You know, the owner here has a clear vision of the impact she wants to make. It's not just, you know, I'm sure the first vision was, I want to own a gym. But it doesn't stop there, you know, having that next level that I want to impact 1 million people. And also, guys, I want you to hear in that description that Violet so naturally just kind of let fall out was she wants to do this. She's also speaking. She's also growing her gym. Like, it's not one part. It's not one piece. It's not a singular focus. It's really putting it all out there through passion, through belief, and like rallying the troops. And that starts to affect people. There's a reason why their clientele are so loyal. There's a reason why someone like Violet's going, you know, and I'm going to stick around. And I think that's a huge thing that I, again, see through what you do.
I love being around winners, and she's a winner. Just like Hammer was, in fitness, she's that way too, because she knows where she's going. She knows, she has passion for what she's doing. She hasn't done a lot of other things in her life. It's all been surrounded around activities such as fitness, sports, that sort of thing. She's an athlete. She's a Spartan racer herself. She was a star soccer player. I mean, she's, you know, so I love being around a woman like that who knows where she's going. She's passionate about what she's doing. And I feel like I'm on a winning team, whether it's in music or whether it's in over here at No Limit Sports and Fitness. I'm around winning people that want to make it, you know, people that want to do something positive.
Yeah. Well, I would say from you being around winners is absolutely a great thing, but also looking at you and just the absolute open heart, willingness to look at everyone, like, and the humility really that you have. There's part of you, I absolutely know, you've been a badass. Like, you have done some amazing things. And I love that, you know that. And at the same time, you're like, you know what, I just gave chances. I was there, I listened, I was open. And I think a lot of people could see that and go, you know, I can't be like that. That's not going to get me anywhere. But it's brought you, I think, to exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
In all places in life. And yeah.
I was going to say, people are always asking me, when am I going to write my book? When am I going to write my book? And I have so many stories. I could write 10 books, you know? So maybe this year I'll start on a book, you know, I'll do that. I really enjoy these podcasts. I think that yours has been the most enjoyable so far that I've done of any podcast. You really know your stuff. You're a great host. And I just love talking to you. This time that we spent here has made me believe that there might be some other great podcasts out there. But in my opinion, My Design Life has been the most the greatest experience so far of any podcast.
Amazing. Well, see, and you guys, how can you not hang around this woman and just feel wonderful all the time? It's just, thank you so much. And, you know, again, you went through so many places in your life where I think at any time, and many times, people told you didn't belong there. You know, who is this 12-year-old here at the swap meet? Who is this 15-year-old running this shop? Who is this 18-year-old trying to get a job here? Who is this Caucasian lady working in hip hop? Who is this, you know, and at every time you didn't necessarily fight, like maybe in the normal sense that we say fight, but you stood your ground and were like, yeah, I belong here, and I'll show you how, and I'll show you why. Right. And that spirit, that thing, I think we can all take note from. You know, there are battles, guys, there are battles, and yes, get out there and fight. But if you notice in every part, Violet kind of took the I don't want to say silent protest, but you took like the strong, you know, like, oh yeah, well, let me show you. You didn't come in with fists, but you came in with your brain, and you came in with your comfortability in yourself. And I don't know if you always felt that way, but that's a sense that I really get from you, is that you're like, yeah, this is me, and this is where I'm going to be.
Right. You know, back then too, I didn't really know that I didn't belong. I always felt like I belonged, you know,
right.
Like, I wasn't trying to really prove myself so much, maybe on some occasions, you know, but I felt like if I know my stuff, I'm passionate about what I'm doing, I belong, and I never felt like I didn't, you know.
Right.
I think nowadays people might have more, with the things that are going on in the world today, it might be very different for somebody like me coming up now.
Right.
But back then it was all love, you know. I got along with everybody. I love them, they love me, that sort of thing. So
I love it. Well, that sums you up so much. Well, before my last question, where can people connect with you?
Okay, so I am on Instagram, and I promise this year to pay more attention to it. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook under Violet Brown. I have a personal page that's nearly I have to always take people off. If somebody interesting tries to friend me on there, I usually read up on the person or whatever. And then if it's somebody that maybe I can help, I probably have somebody on there that I could take off that maybe I don't talk to as much anymore. Maybe somebody passed away, my God. But,
oh my.
you know, something like that. So I can make room. I also have an Instagram, and like I said, I'll pay more attention to it in
Yeah.
this year because I
And
know
the-
it's very important. That's
Yes,
so important.
It is.
So
Well, and really, people just want to see you and all the things that you're doing. So your
Oh.
Instagram is the Violet Brown, right?
the Violet Brown. My Facebook is under Violet Brown. I have, you guys, I have like boxes and boxes and boxes of rare photos with artists and great things that I need to put on Instagram. I know that you'll see a lot of pictures with huge icons and things like that, but I've got so many more. And I've got pictures with a guy that maybe you never heard of, but you know what? He was really dope, man. And, and I gotta get that
And
guy
he
on there
deserves
too.
to have his picture.
He deserves to have his picture up there. So I'm gonna start digging through the boxes,
So
digging through
not
the crates.
only can we
and,
get nostalgic with you, but we can learn and discover perhaps some new things or old sensations that we've missed.
Right.
So there's a lot
Sometimes,
of reason to pay attention.
Yeah, sometimes on Facebook, when I put up a picture, there's such a great story behind that picture. So,
Yes.
you know, like every picture has a story. Yes,
Yes.
they do.
I
And
can attest to that, guys. Her Facebook's amazing.
Yeah,
always
so
blown
you may
away.
see something written about that picture or how that came to be on that day, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, I would be happy to help you with your strategy to get you on there, to get you going, so we can bring more of this to the world. So guys, that'll be my goal this year, is to get maybe Violet in on that book, on that Instagram, get her going, because she does have stories that absolutely deserve to be heard. And now for my last question, Violet, in all your experience, is it even possible that you might have a singular piece of advice or wisdom to give someone, like all those that you've worked with in the past, that are perhaps pursuing something that no one gets, or maybe in their own moment just feels impossible?
I would say follow your passion, follow your heart. Don't let anybody stand in the way. If that's what you want to do, you're not too old. You're not the wrong color. You're not the wrong sex. That if this is something that you want to do, follow your heart and do it. Follow your passion and don't let anything stand in the way. And I think that you'll be fine. You know, if you try to start something and you're not passionate about it, it's not going to happen, and you're not going to care that it didn't happen.
Right.
But if you follow your passion and follow your heart, put all your energy into it, learn along the way, get a little educated about whatever you're doing, you're going to be fine. Don't let anything stop you.
Love it. I love it. Well, Violet, thank you so much for being here today. You were truly one of a kind.
Oh, okay.
So people, there are no excuses and no limits to showing up where you want to be. You just have to take that first step, and the next step is going to follow. So stop overthinking it, get going, follow that passion, like she said. And as always, you guys, again, thank you for being here. I love connecting with all of you on Instagram and Facebook at My Design Life Show. And you can also follow me at Tanya MFK and learn all about our workshops, retreats, programs at TanyaMFK.com. If you like this episode and you'd like to see more, make sure to click that subscribe button to be notified of our next show. And remember, your someday starts today. Make it the best. I'm Tanya MFK, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us at My Design Life. Catch us every other Monday at 3 p.m. EST. Follow us at Tanya MFK, My Design Life Show, United Intentions Foundation, and UI Media Network. Do you have methods, tips, or hacks to live your best life? Be a guest on our show. Contact us at mydesignlife.show to submit an application.